look in the eyes of my brother without shedding a tear for my brother.
Welcome back. How y'all doing out there? What it is, what it do. I believe they are called gym shoes. And you're here for another episode of the InforMILLy podcast. We got Josh on the mic.
We got A-Dub in his own quadrant.
And Adam's here.
What's up? We got the power of Marco on this side.
Oh, you came back for another week of all of this forthright vulnerability and honesty. So we want to thank you for joining us again, fellas. I was talking to a friend recently, and she's having this kind of hard time with her dating life, and hopefully she don't mind me talking about her on the podcast. We'll see if she listens to it.
One less follower. Damn it, Josh.
But she was telling me that she almost got with this dude who made it a point to tell her throughout their entire conversation how great he is. Like
in general,
the whole conversation, like
or at sex. Okay, I didn't know if you were
both.
Okay,
but literally was like saying thoughts that were, excuse me, like just common shit, just common knowledge, or he made one reference to like a philosophy that she had just read about recently in a book, and he was like, "See, man, that's how great I am, because all this shit comes from me. People got to read about the shit that I can just come up with naturally." And when I hear about people like this, I am flabbergasted that anyone can have that amount of narcissism or confidence or arrogance, what have you. So, especially regular niggas. We're not even getting into celebrities, but maybe we can. Do you have any examples of like the worst narcissists that you've ever encountered? And this brand of narcissism, do you like, oh, this motherfucker's a little touched?
I just got a question. So what was that dude a cult leader that she went on that date with? That's my first question.
He was about to start.
Yeah, that's his recruitment process, huh? No, it's a very good question, yo. Well, one thing it brings to my mind is like, I'm sure we've all been narcissistic before, had some tendency. So like, what degree of narcissism does it take for it to stand out to the point where we're like, oh, this is not normal shit that we're just used to and maybe accept better? Is this like old Kanye level? Like that is what it makes me think of. And shout out to Kanye, by the way. But, you know what I'm saying? I feel like there could be like a socially acceptable amount of narcissism that like we may all have or have dealt with.
Yeah, I think.
But at what point does it like stand out to the point where we're like, oh man, that's a problem?
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with being confident.
Right.
Like you could say like a lot of athletes, for example, a lot of athletes you could consider and like, man, they're cocky or they're confident or arrogant or whatever words you want to use. Then you have some athletes that take it to the extreme that are legitimately they're just but then again, I hear a lot of players, whether NBA, NFL, but definitely in the NFL players, where they're like, it's very common for like the locker room be essentially full of alpha males, essentially, because it almost requires that to be a professional football player or athlete in general. Yeah, I'm not saying everyone is, but it just, I don't know. And it doesn't help that someone is telling you how great you are for the last 20 years of your life. Like, right. They're like, man, this dude he's fast, or he can do this, he can do that. And then there's that, and you have all the fans, that that are cheering for you all the time, and you get all
And
this money.
idolizing you and
So
shit. Yeah.
so I'm not even sure the point I was making, but
To your point,
I'll-
to your point, I
Good.
think it goes at least to relate this to Josh's friend who was having that date. She hasn't, like, most of those athletes when they're talking shit or like they're like being cocky or being confident, we've seen that they've put in the work and that they can get the job done,
Mhm.
whether it's on the floor, the hardwood, or the field. This guy hasn't proven himself at all yet. This motherfucker hasn't proven himself at all.
That's why I was like,
He's just
you a
talking shit.
regular
You know
motherfucker.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, that's how it is, though. You almost gotta. Actually, what Adam said was kind of very deep, like, because some of those people are in their profession for a long time, and nobody ever really tell them, like, or check them. Like, they've been in a system, even in a household, where they like the kings and queens. Because I was watching this documentary the other day on Tony Romo and like how he came up and where he was from in his city. Like, he's the man. Like, he come from Wisconsin and then somewhere in Illinois. But then I believe he was like very late in the draft, and when he went to the Cowboys, and
was he drafted?
Was
he drafted?
Or he probably was undrafted, because I remember
think he was undrafted.
Okay,
but that's even crazier.
He was saying like he was at the draft and he kind of left because he wasn't getting drafted or something like that. But anyway, he had like a standoff with Bill Parcells, which was the coach then, and Jerry Jones, the owner or whatever. And they like put the pressure on him because they was going to sign him, and Bill Parcells really loved him, really liked his talent, but he was unproven. But my point is, like, sometimes when people are unproven, and they gotta kind of be like that to, like, fake it to make it, like that whole philosophy or whatever. Yeah. And I believe that works, like, more often than not. Yeah. But I don't know if that comes from narcissism.
That's
what
I'm saying.
I just agree that those type of people, like Michael Jordan, everybody know, like, he's cool as hell, but his competitive nature drove him to narcissism like that.
But
so,
I guess,
and even Mike said he would not have been able to win at the rate he did if he wasn't the way he was.
And I guess let's not.
We don't know if that's true.
Let's not conflate too much. I think that there's confidence, there's overconfidence, there's arrogance, and there's narcissism. And it's like, if we're looking at it like a tier system, like, if I'm confident, like, I believe in myself, but that's not the expense of anybody else. If I'm overconfident, I may talk about myself at a higher regard than my talent or my skill can actually exude. If I'm arrogant, then that means fuck you, I'm good.
And these are my personal definitions. Like this is not like when it's at the expense or like hurting others with your.
Yeah, that's like narcissism is like you are so full of your, at least as far as I understand it, you're so full of yourself to the detriment of anyone around you or that has to interact with you. Like I like, how should I say? If we're talking about like athletes who have gotten good and all that kind of stuff, even if you made it to the league, you might not be arrogant enough. Like I'm trying to think about like somebody that's not even that good. I'm not going to say a name.
Snoop. I'm kidding.
Well, but I guess I'm trying to. I can't think of a person in particular because I barely watch anything these days. But like, if you're someone who's like coming off the bench in the NBA, like late off the bench, like you're the ninth man, and can you be that arrogant to LeBron? No. Can you be
Russell Westbrook? Let's just use Russell Westbrook.
That's what I was thinking of. Honestly,
sure. Because Russ is stinking the fucking place up these days. But while he's doing that to NBA niggas, if he goes to the Hudson Campbell, he can be as arrogant as he fucking wants to, because the sorriest person in the league is better than the.
He gonna start magically making his shots.
Huh?
Yeah. He gonna start magically making every jump shot like they do in the YouTube videos. Like they don't miss at all. I'm like, it's the same court, like the same dimensions.
It's different though when you have someone trying to stop you from scoring. Like every NBA player can go to the gym and probably completely look like an all-star, but as soon as there's competition on the floor, then that goes away.
Yep, the Pacers out there.
What was that dude's name? Scalabrini.
I saw that video, Josh.
Yeah. Like he wasn't even like the top 3 of the big men on whatever team he was on.
Celtics.
I
think the Celtics. I think.
Okay,
Celtics,
Marcus, am I wrong? Yeah, eyebrows went up.
Celtics, Bulls. Like he played for a bunch.
I thought he played for the Bulls too. Yeah, but he goes to the gym and he just starts destroying everybody.
Yeah, that's why it kind of rubs me the wrong way when, like, you've probably seen it in the comment section on ESPN or NFL, whatever. You will see like someone will say such and such sucks. Like the dude does not suck. Like maybe he's not good as his competition, but it rubs me the wrong way when people say certain professional athletes suck. It's just like, it's like the amount of talent you have to have just to get drafted, even if you're not like high in the draft. Like even if you 6th, 7th round pick. I mean, Brady was a 6th round pick, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of 6.
Draft.
Yeah. There's plenty of 6th, 7th round picks that grow to be fantastic. I mean, I know this isn't a sports talk per se, but
I'm curious to look up. I mean, I'm curious to see what to read. Like, what's the exact definition of narcissism is? I know we have our own ideas, but like,
Marco,
what is the proper verbiage?
Because I know there's different kinds of narcissism, but the most common one that is a sense of self-worth. That is, Marcus looking up an actual definition.
So the disorder is NPD. Basically long life patterns of exaggerated feelings or self-importance. Diminished ability to empathize, and there's more to it, but that's the gist of it.
Say those one more time.
So exaggerated feelings of self-importance, excessive craving for admiration, and diminished ability to empathize with others.
So you think you're too important. What was the second one? You
can't empathize or excessive craving for admiration.
Wanting people to praise you.
You need a lot of attention. You need constant
praise and
validation. Pats on the
validation. Yeah.
So 50% of Instagram users.
Yeah, I was about. Yeah, like, I mean,
but for real, narcissism is a. I feel like, I mean, I can't clinically say
diagnose all of us,
right? But I think that's like real big in these times, man. For real.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in the age of social media, especially because it's monetizable now, you kind of have to be to some degree self-absorbed to believe that your everyday actions are worth people paying you and people's attention.
Yeah, man, for sure. Like, I mean, whenever you post something to something, you're not posting something to be like, no one's gonna look at this or comment, or we're expecting people to look at it. To some degree, we're wanting them to give us some sort of attention.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's a. I've always felt that way too, just for sure. Like, I guess that's why I don't have a fucking blog or something. It's like, I don't think that I would be that interesting on camera day to day. All right, so we're going to my favorite spot in the park again. Why would you want to pay for this? I don't know, man.
I mean, go ahead, Adam.
No, I was gonna say, for me, like, no, I completely agree. Like, I see stuff like that, and I hate that Instagram and YouTube does it too, but it'll just show you like reels. Not like, and it'll have like that strip of like reels, but it'll be stuff that I'm not even interested in. I'm like, but it'll keep showing it to me, like, and it'll be like, like if you're on YouTube, especially if you're on your phone, it'll start playing a video.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how often you YouTube on your phone, but if you're on YouTube, it'll just start playing a video, and then if you go to your history, it'll show that you were watching that video. I wasn't
you're talking
watching
about
this.
on your scrolling on the timeline,
Yeah.
When it's on,
Yeah.
because it'll just start playing regardless of whether or not you actually clicked on it.
Yeah, and then what
you have to
happens
click
is
the volume. Yeah.
and then what happens is they'll just keep showing you stuff that relates to that. I'm not interested in this, but it's like it's the most frustrating thing. But anyway, because of that, I'll see like a lot of like TikTok videos that I have no interest in seeing, but I'll see it like advertised. And sometimes I'll watch them just because I'm just curious. And this is like some of it is so cringeworthy because it's just like it's just a person just staring at the camera for like 7 seconds. I'm like, and I'm thinking they're gonna say something or they're gonna like there's gonna be something, but that's the whole video. It's just them showing their face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's like, you don't find that off or weird that you're putting this out? I know,
man. I know.
It's fascinating to me.
I mean,
it's
all those. It's people who lip sync on video back before TikTok. It's when I think about what people have to do in order to even make their video, I'm going, so wait a minute, you just stood in front of your ring light, just
that. Okay, I got it. That's so fascinating because a couple weeks ago, Kirsten C, she was on the train. She was going out to see her family in Arizona. She don't like flying anyway. So she's at this train stop, and there's a girl. I guess she was on the train as well, but they had not a break, but they had to stop so they can get out, stretch your legs, whatever. Mm-hmm. So she sent me this video. She was recording this girl. She's on the train. There's a girl. She's outside of the train, but right next to it. And I guess she propped her phone up on something, and obviously she's doing some dance, some TikTok dance. And she only the cycle, the video she showed me was only like her doing it one time, but Kirsten was saying that she had did it like a good 20 times, just over and over again to get it right, I guess. And I was like, because we've seen the final results of those videos,
right?
But I've never seen like
the making.
How many times did you sit, like you say, in front of the ring? Like how many times did you sit here and do this? So everybody can praise you on your bad dancing, like
so you hope you can get praise. That's the whole thing about it. I'm going. It's wild to me. It ain't wild to me. It's because I'm not gonna act like I'm not on TikTok all the time. It's very fucking entertaining. At least the avenues that have the algorithm is catered to me at this point.
Yeah.
But when I think about how some of these are made, I'm like, you realize how stupid you look.
Yeah, and I got caught up too because there was this one dude that I kind of stumbled on YouTube, and he's essentially he goes into like a music store and he'll play like maybe you've seen his stuff, but he'll play like typically like 80s synth type stuff. And I'm like, oh, I like this, but then like I quickly like within like 3 days I'm like, nah, this is off because like it felt too
put on,
forced.
Yeah, it felt too like it wasn't like a random thing. It was too like I'm gonna go out and do this, and it's like it just felt very robotic almost. And I like it's kind of weirding me out, so I unfollowed him. But it just because it's society wants us to believe that it's just young girls out there that are craving attention. But it's not. It's not just
not at all.
So and I like I said, I got caught up in that. And I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong. He's just playing music. There's nothing wrong about that, but. It just felt very like very intentional. Like I'm just doing this just to go viral. That's the whole purpose of this.
Right.
And that's stuff that kind of turns me off.
Yeah, man.
I mean, by all means, get your bag how you gonna get your bag. But I've had a few students over the years. I'm not working with high schools that much anymore, but when I had a few of them be like, oh yeah, I'm about to start doing makeup on social media so I can become an influencer. And I'm like, I almost felt like how those parents would be like to kids, like, I'm gonna play ball so I can go to the NBA. And I'm like, nigga, you're not going to the NBA. What are you talking about? Like, it's you want to believe in the kids, but you're like the chances that you are the one that's special enough for the algorithm to like you.
Yeah, but that's what makes social media so enticing to people, because they see other people do it and they're like, well, they can do it. Why can't I? They got a million followers. Why can't I do it?
I recognize the hypocrisy in this because we are also putting this out via social media and like make us famous. And
I was thinking that. I was like, bro, I'm trying to get the bag for real. If the bag comes, I'm accepting with open arms.
Like it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Like I'm not saying this in actual judgment. We get the hypocrisy of this.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, allow me to say, like, for me, I'm honestly, if that happens, then great. But I'm satisfied with just meeting with you guys every week, and I'm actually okay with that. So
that's real.
I'm
not saying like I'm in this for the money, man.
Yeah.
Fuck y'all. I'm not saying
that.
I'm saying like it'd be great if someday this became lucrative.
Yeah, that would be great.
It'd be cool if like we could do this and like make a living,
Yeah,
because it's something that we all
nice.
actually enjoy doing. I think that that's how I feel, but I'm not in it every day. Like, man, here, today's the day. Today's the day. It's about to be. It's a good conversation.
Because other side of it ain't like we only because when I look at not to change the subject, we can come back to this. When I look at shit like did y'all see that corny ass thing of that podcast what's it called, Fresh and Fit? We can bleep it out too, but these dudes went viral for talking about how they don't want Shaniquas and they don't want to date hood black women.
I didn't see that.
And I guess it was a year late. It was a year ago that they did this, and it went viral again because of some shit with some person I don't know, Cash Doll or something like that. Yeah. Either way, I think about these people who have a platform and they got big just by talking to a demographic of dudes who kind of struggle to think for themselves. And I'm like, how the fuck are these people famous? Relatively famous for whatever their demographic is. And I'm going, we over here just chilling and being cool and talking about random, like we not even like bothering nobody. Do we need to bother some people?
But y'all know,
dude,
y'all
I
know
feel
that
like. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, if y'all was following like the Facebook whole little thing they had going on a few months ago, the algorithm is for the negative shit.
Oh well, yeah.
So it's like that's what grows the the best, like the lovey-dovey stuff. Like I'm people like stop for it and they get their eyes watery a little bit, but people really sharing the negative stuff, and like that's growing the best. Because I don't know if that's just human nature or they're just but they definitely catering to it if that's it, because they've been called out about that. So
I feel like that's a typical thing though, because before the algorithm exists, it was a formatting for newspapers. Put all the big bad shit in big bold print, and then
it's no different. Like I'm sure they just cater to it because it's more lucrative for them. So, but that's just how it is though.
That's like I feel like a lot. The whole entertainment system is built around that. It's like, it's. I also feel like a lot of moments in life in general are just mundane and like dull. So, if it wasn't that case, then maybe these things wouldn't be as big. Like a lot of moments in life, you're just walking, or you're sitting down, you're opening the door, you're driving, you're on a train, you're at work, and then you have these breaks and it's like, oh shit, something's going on in Hollywood, something crazy, but you're just, it's not, I feel like it's easy to, I could see why it would be easy to like want to be on your phone and want to do all these things because all the excitement. I don't know what that was, but you're just telling me to shut the fuck out. It's just like, yo, somebody else talk.
That happened every week. They say it's 11 o'clock.
I noticed that last week.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like switch to new user. Switch your characters immediately. I don't know. I think it's crazy that it feels like the whole entertainment world is just built off of like what's the next thing to go viral. It's wild. Like why is that? Why is it so easy to do that?
To go viral?
I don't know. But just to like, yes, like it doesn't. It just feels forced. A lot of we're encouraged to do whatever it takes to do whatever that next crazy thing is to go viral. You know, even if it's forced, I feel like a lot of stuff is forced to go viral. Like, why is it so easy? I think that plays into the whole narcissism talk. That plays into the narcissism talk for sure, though.
I think that's the dangerous part, though. It appears to be easy because it's like we see foolish things go viral. Like what? Like why did 3 million people see this? Right. So it looks like, oh well, but I don't know. I don't know. Of course, I mean, how would we know if it's easy or not? But I don't believe it's easy to go viral. I think because the stuff we see go viral is so mundane sometimes that it's like, I think that's what makes people believe that they can go out there and be a influencer, for example.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not saying they're not putting up a lot of like thinking about. So I'm meaning more so like it's so much, of course, because of the algorithm, but like even before taking the algorithm into perspective, like why is it so easy for our attention to jump on this thing for it to be that magnetic to us when it's really not doing anything for anybody? Why is that part so easy? I think part of it is because life is considered mundane. Regular moments where you're not doing that much, or something exciting is not happening. They're not caught or cared about as much or paid attention to as much.
I wouldn't say that it doesn't do anything for anyone. Because I mean, by all means, if your viral moment lasts longer than 5 seconds and you make some money off of it, did something for you.
Yes.
I think psychologically,
that way, I'm talking about really doing something.
No, I mean psychologically, I'm sure to some degree, if it's actually creative thing that you did and not like you got punched out in a subway or some shit, you had your Jussie Smollett moment. It might release some level of like pride or endorphins or what have you, that you got to be recognized for your work. I had another point. It's gone. Yeah, go ahead, Marco.
So to tie it in with the narcissism thing, like, because I think like Josh was saying, like narcissism is the extreme end of the spectrum for this. So I think the point is like only if it's like diminishing other people's diminishing, if you're diminishing somebody, then that's where it becomes like a weapon,
Yeah, and in the event that whatever you're doing for your own self preservation or acknowledgement or what have you, the instant it becomes detrimental to other people is when it becomes that dangerous level of narcissism. Do you think it's possible to be a celebrity and not be in some degree of narcissism?
I feel like in this world, I feel like it's hard to be a person and not have some level of narcissism. I think. I mean, I feel like it sounds like we're saying narcissism is only when it's detrimental to somebody. I feel like we can all have some level of narcissism, or at some point have some level of narcissism in us.
I think
without it like really doing any type of real harm to anybody, or even being perceived as doing harm to somebody.
So I just want to mention,
go ahead.
My bad, but like this narcissism personality disorder is characterized by a long life pattern of these behaviors. So it's like you can do something narcissistic.
That doesn't make you a narcissist,
right? It's got to be a pattern of you doing these things, and it probably would be obvious at that point if you've been doing this your whole life. So I just want to mention, like, you can do narcissistic type stuff, but it could have been a reaction from something. But as long as is a lifelong thing, then that's when it's like it's called MPD or whatever. I didn't know that before. I'm just
in order for you to actually like legitimately be properly diagnosable, it has to be over.
Yeah, so you got to earn your stripes.
Then again, it's like you don't have to go to the doctor to have it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump is the prime example of narcissism.
One of them.
They probably done told him like, "Hey, all his advisors, MPD, bro. Look, cool. Turn your MPD down, man."
Sounds like a rap group. Probably because I'm thinking of MPMD or was that the name? MPMD, wasn't that a group in the 90s? I forget the letters.
EPMD.
My brain went MDMA.
Yeah, EPMD.
EPMD. There you go.
Yo, you know what I'm thinking about though is like I wonder in this world, like let's say you mentioned celebrity, Josh, like, or just if you're trying to be popular, you're trying to be a celebrity, you're trying to break into a part of entertainment, you're trying to break into a business, let's say music industry, fashion, whatever, that like many other things in life have their way of working that they think works best to make the most amount of money. About like they have a certain structure that they typically want to keep set in stone. Not everybody's open to like having new ideas and younger, fresh ideas to move things on, because that can affect people. So in light of all of that, I wonder if it can make people seem like more of a narcissist or seem a certain way when they're trying to push into an industry that they have to, like, I could see why somebody would overtalk their importance or whatever, saying like, yo, give me a fucking shot. I can do this. I deserve to be here. I could see why somebody would come off as a narcissist. Point is, I could see it being challenging as a celebrity or somebody trying to break into an industry. I can see how they could maybe come off as more of a narcissist than maybe they might actually be typically, because they're trying to break into something new and they're getting resistance because you're just not always taken as for face value, like, oh, this person did shit. Like, I could see it being a hurdle, I guess, in trying to break into many industries, especially the entertainment, like actually becoming a celebrity. I could see you having to talk yourself up and maybe being perceived as more of a narcissist than you might actually be. What do you think about that?
I think that's just what we were talking about. When you know how people have to do that as like a sales, as a sales pitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is how much of that is like, I guess we'd have to tell based off of how detrimental or harmful it can be to others. Like how much of that is really people being narcissistic or like people actually being narcissist or showing those tendencies because they're getting resistance in whatever field they're trying to get into. Hard to say, I'm sure, but I'm sure that has been a thing,
It sounds like, for me at least, what it sounds like you're describing is essentially hip hop. Like this is like you have an up and comer that that might have like the local fan base, but they're not quite nationally known yet. So they come on the scene, they might have a few songs, they'll do a Breakfast Club interview and they'll say some wild stuff, talk about I'm the best rapper out, and no one knows who they are. Like we see stuff like that happen all the time. Where it's like it feels like that person knows they're not better. They know they're not better than most people, but they need something to give them like a boost, like so people can like, who is this guy or gal?
Yeah, or being pigeonholed, or being like pigeonholed. Like, okay, I've done this thing and I've done pretty good. Now I want to try something else. It's like, nah. Okay, now I got to do this shit again to break into this industry to show them, hey, I'm interested in like flexing more than one muscle here. But you're being pigeonholed. Even actors get pigeonholed too. Okay, we know you as this one particular type of actor doing these particular roles.
Are you trying to say pigeonholed?
Pigeonhole. I said pigeonhole, then I switched it to held. I wasn't sure which one with you.
I was like, are you conjugating pigeonhole?
Yeah. I'm trying both. Hey, this is informal, bro. This fucking name. It's all in the name, dog. Come on. I tried both, and the first one didn't sound good.
I'm sorry. I wasn't doing that before. This time, I was definitely doing that. But no. I think an example of this, if we were even gonna be more specific, would be Kanye.
That's
When
what I was
Kanye
thinking.
first started,
That's what I was thinking, Kanye.
it
I was
was a
trying so
thing
hard
of,
not to mention him, but
Huh?
I was trying so hard not to mention him, but
and
he's
it's
such
only
an
because
obvious. Yeah.
I don't think it was narcissism when he started. I think it was just a belief in himself and confidence and all of that and slight insecurity. Because he kept going, okay, I know I'm a great producer and y'all know I'm a great producer, but why are y'all keeping me from rapping or accepting that I'm a decent rapper? And then it became, why don't y'all give me the awards I deserve? This was a fucking masterpiece. And then it became, I'm the best in the game alive, and no one's ever done it. I'm a genius. And so I think it escalated. I don't think it started there, but I think it escalated into him being a hell of a narcissist.
I think that's one of the cases where, as far as success, it helped,
bring it to that place.
Yeah,
he proved it.
think
He proved
I
that
think
he could do it.
like we were saying earlier, like a lot of talented people who are successful also probably have higher levels of narcissistic ways or things like that, because they went for it. They sold themselves their whole life, and even at other people's detriment, they kept doing it. So yeah, I think it may have fueled people's success also.
Yeah. I- it's
Yeah, 50
I
Cent.
guess I'm more so curious about like how many times is it coming off as one thing and it's really just somebody trying to try something different and just like sick of everybody saying, no, we only know you as this. Like, how often is it actually that? And they're not, it wouldn't really be diagnosed as a narcissist versus, okay, they really are narcissists. And this is actually detrimental, hurting people around them, because you're getting resistance at every turn. If you've only been known for this one thing and you keep trying other shit, that's one of the things I like about is trying something else, jumping into different things.
I think as far as like,
you might not be, you're not the best at this, so you got to start at the bottom again.
Right. I think that confidence and overconfidence is one thing. Challenging. How much shit? I keep losing the fucking thought. I think the challenge being when you make it so much about you, if you exemplify no level of humility inside of how you're presenting yourself at whatever apex of whatever thing it is that you do, and you just you're not showing any kind of humility inside of that, then I think that's when you get into the realm of narcissism.
Yeah, because that's what turned me off about Kanye and Donald Trump, is that when like we was reading, like when they don't show any empathy, it's like it brings us to a reality check that like you really don't think or care about other people enough, because if you did, you would have processed that, whatever it may be, you would have had some type of empathy for what you're talking about. Because I think in I like Kanye drops a lot of gems in his interviews, but then again, I think he does.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think he does. But then he drops a lot of crap too.
Little poop bombs.
Yeah,
little poop bomb.
You got to scoop it up behind him. Because he really, like, him and Donald Trump, like, they could be talking, it'd be funny, and then they say something like super out of, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like they just show that they disconnected from
reality,
society and reality. So it's like you really don't think about nobody else. It's like your ideas and stuff are pulsing through your mind, but it's like you don't have no empathy, like they were saying. Like that just I think that would turn anybody off.
Yeah,
especially people in power. People in power like to see that they don't care about just regular people. It's like, why are you here?
Yeah. I mean, for me, like like you were saying that might turn people off, and that's for me. That's all it is. It's like, it's like, for me, it's hard for me to listen to a full Kanye West interview. I think the last one I did listen to was that one when he did that thing with Charlemagne out in, was it Wyoming,
or
when they were
whatever.
walking in the hills
Yeah.
and stuff.
Those
and
acres, man.
Yeah, and I thought it was a good interview. And that was around the time where I was still like kind of like still trying to hear him out. But now it's like I just can't, because I remember trying to listen to the Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even try the Drink Champ one, honestly, but the Joe Rogan one, I got like 30 minutes in, and it just felt like he was kind of just not ranting, but kind of like
being manic.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. It's hard to follow for me. For Adam, it's hard to follow. I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm not saying any of that. It's just for me. I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm not open-minded enough, but he's just at this stage. It's hard for me to follow what he's saying. And like I said, I don't know. Maybe I need to be more open-minded in what he's saying. But just to wrap this up, like, I think about the Taylor Swift incident. Obviously, we know all about it.
Right.
And like what Mark was saying, like sometimes someone's actions that like that. I don't even like Taylor Swift, but that moment was like it really rubbed me the wrong way. Because like even if you feel that strongly about Beyonce's video, like it's just funny that that's the that video was the thing that made him do that. But like it's okay, I guess. I mean, but I don't know. It's he's definitely a complex individual, and I'm not gonna say I don't like Kanye West, but he just rubs me the wrong way in a lot of areas. Put it that way.
I'm with you in the side of that. I can't listen to entire interviews anymore. For me, it is his narcissism, because he's proven several times that he is a musical icon. He's been heavily influential over the past decade and a half, maybe even longer. And for him to still be in a place where he needs other people to validate him, it's disheartening, I guess, when you can reach that reach that level, but you're still in a place where you're like, oh, let me go on here and talk negatively about my artists, because you feel like they did you wrong in some kind of way, or how everything just centers around him. He's like, I was the first one to give
you sound like Soulja Boy.
Leather sweatpants to
him and Soulja, the first rapper to ever talk about
some on float.
Like, they never thought about leather sweatpants before me, and y'all tell me that I can't be in fashion and da 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 da. And I'm like, yo, all I hear about is people talk about how they want your ugly ass sneakers. So I don't who are you talking to? Or even I just it doesn't make sense to me, that level of insecurity and boisterous confidence.
One could say he used his arrogance to power his dream.
yeah. So I ought to laugh.
But I always thought that was a great line by him, though.
Yeah. I think part of that was what I was hitting on about, like, it is disheartening to be like, damn, man, you've done all this and you still feel that way? Is nothing that you've done, or the crazy amount of praise, money, success that you've gotten enough? But it doesn't seem like it's enough when you're trying to get into a different field, and everybody once again says, no, we don't. Now you have to prove to us again.
I can see that.
I think that is part of it. I do think, but the other half is definitely like, damn, it's super disheartening, because we've given you a lot. We've given you a lot, man.
I guess I think about it. Not to cut you off, Aaron, but it's that Basquiat thing. That's the same shit that led to Basquiat dying. Because as talented as he was and as renowned as he became, quiet, like, let me say quiet as kept, but like the thing that people kind of like struggle to come to terms with is Jean-Michel Basquiat. He needed white approval. And what happened as soon as he got into that, as soon as he did that thing with Andy Warhol, who was supposed to be his art idol and everything like that, and it flopped, Andy pieced the fuck out, and it drove him out.
I know.
And so,
I either, yeah.
You said what?
I said I didn't know any. I guess I don't know a lot about him other than he was a renowned, like you said, a renowned artist that died really young. Too young.
That's the only thing I knew about him outside of like what you see or hear.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Where everybody might grow up seeing and hearing, knowing just a little bit of, okay, he was well known and renowned as an artist, is that like he didn't actually care about the money. A lot, like I've just heard a lot of people who were around him give accounts of like, actually to the point where he could at least put that shit in the bank or something. People would love to come over to his place because he'd have thousands of dollars just sitting around while he was painting, and people would be like, "Yeah," and he was, I'm coming to the party. You need me to do this, do that, and they would come and like just steal money that was just laying around in the open. And he was like, "I'm just focused on the fucking art." So I appreciate that dedication, but I didn't know any of that other stuff, Josh.
Yeah, it was, and that's hilarious that I knew something about a visual artist that y'all did. That is a crazy irony. it is that kind of Basquiat syndrome thing that I'm like, yo, Ye has been doing this shit for 20 odd years or whatever, and you're saying like, oh, people wouldn't let him into the fashion industry, and I'm going, why? With all the money, power, and fame that you have, did you need to get into Paris Fashion Week? That's the validation you need.
That's what Sway was saying, but you see how that turned out. That's what Sway was saying.
He ain't got the answers.
Yeah. He needs high level, son. I need the highest level. I need access to the highest level.
Because in my world, I'm going as I don't know if this can always be true, and I know there's a whole lot of things with Anglo powers that be, but I'm like, as opposed is, I guess that's that Oscars versus NAACP Image Award thing, where you're like, if you are sick of not getting nominated by Oscars because of the opportunities that come forth from white studios and all that kind of stuff, then do what you do to empower Black production companies and Black studios, and then just leave it the fuck alone. Is the money and power what matters, or the recognition of the art? And then the recognition of the art growing.
That's the age-old question.
That it elevates your money and power. Because
that's
if you
age-old question, bro. I feel like artists have been dealing with that question right there for centuries.
Only because, and I get it to some degree. We even talked about that with Felly. Felly being like, having a niche audience versus getting a hit.
Yeah.
But I also go, every time Black folk create something that's great, it's gonna get it anyway, or it's gonna get appropriated or stolen or something like that. And this day and age where you can prove fucking everything, just make it, prove that they stole it, sue them, you get more money. Shit.
Yeah, that's a tough one to say, because I would like to think that with his following specifically, and like how he's helped move Black culture in regards to fashion and the music over the last 2 decades, his influence, couldn't he just put some of his money forth, like Sway was saying, and everybody would just follow along and catch on the same way they do now that he has Adidas and shit anyway? Like, couldn't he? I don't think he believes that that's possible without having the same the backing from like major industry players in the fashion industry. Like, actually, the Bernard, I forgot the dude's name, but he's one of the richest people in the world, and he owns so many different high-end fashion industries. I mean, also down to like the Zaros and the H&M. He's one of the richest people in the world, so he has all kinds of influence. And maybe Kanye's thinking that without that backing and that access to this type of fabric or this type of resources, he really doesn't believe that with just his money, even as a billionaire, he can do it. But he's kind of doing it now.
Yeah.
Like maybe I guess at the time he wasn't a billionaire. Like maybe he thought that he needed to be a billionaire and have access to what he needs. And now he's making factories. He's trying to build factories and shit in the US. One of those prototypes from his shoes was made in Atlanta.
He doing big, man. He cool. I believe he's like a large owner of Gap. You know, he doing this.
Got the Balenciaga thing too.
Yeah.
He brought Balenciaga, which is it's crazy, man.
Like Banana Republic and Old Navy.
Yeah, I love that it's going back. I love it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wasn't trying to make this into a Kanye episode, but you know, but like talk about narcissism and not bring it up.
Dude, that's cool because like if we put something about narcissism as the title, one of the first celebrities people are going to think of, or anybody thinks of, is Kanye. So we can't like not touch on it, I guess, a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Since we was talking about this, like, because I'll wonder when I see these guys, like Dapper Dan and the guy who just recently died, Andre Leon Talley.
Andre Leon Talley
was like big, very huge in the fashion industry. So I wish like Kanye would sit back down with Sway and kind of explain in depth what he was talking about, because his guys who've been in fashion industry, like the two I just mentioned, for a very long time, but maybe was Kanye looking for, I mean, two guys is not enough.
Right.
But like what level is Kanye talking about? Because these guys did it and were at the head of like their industry for a long time. So like I just wonder like what did he really mean there?
I know, man.
He wanted to be accessible for obviously for more Black artists like Virgil Abloh, you know, stuff like that. So
when I hear him in those interviews, I felt the same way, and I wonder, like, I hope he can make it so like quality, what is considered air quotes quality fashion, can be at a price that's more accessible to everybody. Because one thing he talked to, like at least I've gotten from it over the years of just hearing him talk about it, just my perception is like, and I hope this is correct, is he remembers how he used to feel like starting out going into like a, let's say, Gucci or a Fendi or whatever without money and being looked at a certain way. And just like being in school, how I guess, you know, everybody gets, it's possible, it's probably going to happen to everybody at some point to get clowned for what you're wearing or what you don't have, blah, blah, blah. And, but like being able to take like the, once again, air quotes, best fashion or the best quality fabrics and stuff and make it accessible to people who wouldn't have the money to do it, but still look fresh. That's what I've gotten from it. But that's also perception. Everybody ain't gonna like his shit. So at the same time,
because I'm like, what would he do that? Seeing as how aren't Yeezys usually mad fucking expensive? Didn't he charge like $200 for a Book of Eli t-shirt? Like,
well, he claimed that was his plan with Gap, because Gap is not like a high fashion brand, but he want to make it a little bit more affordable, everything. So that's why he went with. Well, that's probably one of the reasons he went with Gap. But you know, but I do think, although, like y'all see how like high schoolers and like kids in grade school, like they actually wear like high fashion brands now somehow. Like,
I'm like, how can you afford this?
And it's like, I don't know if we could credit Kanye with that, but you was just saying like he want to make it more affordable, but I think that's not it's not realistic for high school kids to be wearing all these high fashion designers all the time. Like, and
I agree.
It just don't make sense. I mean, it's great. It looks good. Fendi is cool, but you know, Prada.
I wouldn't even wear some of that shit, bro. I mean, like, as much I care about fashion. I like hearing different interviews and learning blah 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 and all that shit. But like, sometimes it feels like I'm not gonna wear this just because it's expensive and like everybody knows it's Fendi. It actually look good. It has to actually go well with something.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to just wear the shit because I can say it, tell everybody it's Fendi.
But I think-
still, you can wear Fendi and still look whack for sure.
Definitely that.
For sure.
But people don't believe that. People believe because it was expensive,
Right.
that equals automatic. I'm killing this right now because I spent $1,500 on my outfit. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
How did you still fuck it up then? You still fucked it up. How did you do that?
The music definitely kind of changed that. Like rappers always, you know, shouting out every high fashion label they can, and then like the kids like feel like that's their whole goal, you know.
Yeah, and I'll never understand our obsession, not our as in this podcast, but I don't want to lump everybody in the same thing, but there is definitely a population of Black people that is obsessed with Italian high-end fashion. And for me, like, for example, when the Gucci controversy came out, when they made that sweater, that the black face with the red lip, like I don't know what their purpose was, but that sweater, but I know that, I know that when it happened, as far as the backlash came from it, like I remember T.I. talking about we should boycott Gucci for, I think he said 90 days. I think it was. He's like that's not how boycott. You don't put a time. You
because he knew that new Gucci thing he wanted, and the Gucci hoodie was coming out in 90 days.
I need to be back for the fall collection. But it's like,
slap on.
I don't know, man. Like it's like there's so many, and I don't know them, but I'm assuming there's so many Black owned like high end companies that you can buy for. And I'm not even saying it like only buy Black. I'm not even saying it like that. But what I am saying though is, it seems like a lot of people go out of their way to support these Italian brands, and time after time we just like yeah, it's like what, like I don't know. I and I'm not even. And there's some pretty cool American. I like Polo. I mean, is Polo still cool, or is that not like is that not like a thing anymore? I don't know. But
I'll tell you, bro. I'll go ahead, man.
No,
I feel like we've like Europe in general, bro. We've been inspired from, like, we got our fashion sense from Europe in general.
Yeah,
like way back. I mean, I'm sure even Ralph Lauren, when he was starting out, like I don't know if it was several others. Maybe it wasn't him. I know he started with ties, but anyway, they were getting a lot of ideas and influences from Europe way back in the 70s, 80s when they were starting out. They were like, yo, like folks were flying back and saying, oh, this is what's hot there. America's not doing it yet, so let's like sell it as our own or whatever. Like it's I think that thing is almost ingrained. It's like that idea that Europe has the best shit is almost ingrained.
Yeah, we still carry a lot of like stuff from European culture here.
Yeah, man.
Right. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm not agreeing either.
About what?
About just latching on to European influence as much as that probably could be, colonial influence. But
as far as like high end stuff,
as far as
every name is European
mentalities around like whatever is supposed to be considered top tier or the goal or the aspiration, kind of just a praise of whatever is coming out of Europe. I'm not saying that isn't true. I think too much of American culture is dictated by it. But I agree. Yeah. I also have my biases towards just all that in general. Gotcha. And so shit, I had a point. Fuck, that's the third time on this goddamn episode. To tie this back in as we wrap up about this narcissism conversation. Can you think of a time yourself where you may have been either any of these aspects? It might not have been full-blown narcissism, but it might have been, overly confident or acting out of insecurity, anything of that nature?
That's a good question.
Like any particular experience where we were acting out of insecurity and possibly being narcissistic? Is that what you're
Acting
saying?
out of insecurity to the detriment of others, or you're like, huh?
For me, I was gonna answer. Like for me, I would say probably in middle school. I know that's like a long time ago, but
Whatever comes to mind.
But I think at that age, I think not everyone, but I think a lot of kids are trying to fit in. You're wearing what's popular, and I think at that age, I was definitely trying to wear what was popular. So like, at that time there was like Echo, and what else was big back then? Echo, Academics, FUBU,
Yeah, Lugs,
yeah,
Boss. That's why I used to rock the Boss thing.
yeah.
Pelly.
I remember this. I remember my older sister calling me superficial, and I didn't know what that meant at that age. And I was like, "What does that mean?" And she told me, and I was like thrown off. I'm like, "You really like believe that for me?" And I was like, and it was just kind of like a wake up. Even at that young age, I was like, "Dang." So for me, I would say like that 7th, 8th grade period. For me, I felt like I was trying to fit in. I was wearing what everyone else was wearing. I wasn't, and I'm not saying I didn't like it, because I did, but I think this is true. What I'm about to say, I think it's true for all of us. I think, and during our later years of high school, like 11th grade, senior year, I think that's when we started to kind of truly kind of like figure out who we were. And I feel like that's when we started kind of separating from our peers and started just being ourselves.
I think it was before that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't disagree, but I just feel like that's when it was like obvious for me. Like it was like, this is obvious. We're a little bit different. Like
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say that middle school time frame for me.
Bro, I'm gonna have to agree. I'm gonna have to agree with that very similar time frame. I remember, a lot of my shit was hand-me-downs, I gotta say. A lot of the Boston Lugs and shit was hand-me-downs, but like I remember in instances like this is I remember being influenced by instances I had in kindergarten and in first, second grade, like grade school, where people at Nobel and Elementary would clown me. Who, by the way, whose like families had less money than mine, but would clown me because my aunt wasn't spending crazy money on that dumb shit at the time. She was like, I'm not gonna spend money on that. I'd rather save up and go on vacations and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like I remember instances of being in like first grade and being clowned for what I was wearing. And I do think that played a big part later on in like 6th, 7th, 8th grade. About me wearing like, okay, what's hot now? I'm gonna start wearing the Lugs and the shit like that, and the Boston shit and the Timberlands and all that. And like I was doing exactly what Adam was saying. I was like, yo, this shit seems to be what's hot. I got to get my hands on what's hot. you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to climb the ranks, right? And then I was like, all right, man. Then I started like. Then we kind of got into like the skating and the Ralph Lauren and stuff. I was like, all right, this is like what interests me more, actually. So similar time frame as Adam, actually. So just Adam and I got something to say about this. Cool.
I was like, Marco, you want to go next? Or you want to go at all?
I'm trying to think of. I know it's been times where like I felt entitled. I'm trying to think of a specific case, but it's been times where I have this false sense of I guess entitlement. I feel like in the past I probably thought like, I deserve things that I haven't necessarily worked for. You know what I mean? I can't really think of a one case, but I think I've had that in my life before, and Yeah, it's just the more you get to know yourself and your weaknesses and your strengths, that you can kind of hopefully stop doing those things and stop thinking that way.
That's real.
But yeah.
Yeah, dog.
Yeah, I was trying to rack my brain over it too because I don't know that I'm capable of narcissism, which may sound like a arrogant statement.
It does sound narcissistic. Yes.
No, it's only just because in my more
let's go.
no, in my more trust me, this is gonna get a lot more glib. In my in my older years, I've had struggles with ego, but not ego in the sense of arrogance. Ego in a sense of self-deprecation. So I'm on the other side of the spectrum where I don't find things to be overconfident about. I usually lack severe confidence in most regards, unless we roasting. If we roasting about shit, then I can have all the confidence in the world because I have to think about things to talk about you. But doesn't necessarily mean I think that highly of me, if that makes sense. Was even talking to the homie the other day, being where it's always interesting when I hear people talk about, like, you know, how good they are at something, how good they look to other people, and all of that other kind of stuff. Even when I hear that, I don't know if y'all listen to that Silk Sonic album like I have, because I listen to it way too much. That song "Fly As Me." I wish I had that kind of confidence to tell somebody I think you deserve somebody as fly as me, or I need whoever fucks with me to know they got a prize. I don't have that at all. And what was the point I was about to make? Oh, like even with talking to people, I assume no one's attracted to me, and so when people actually say like they are, it's one, a genuine surprise, and two, it'll make me more attracted to them because now I see they have an interest. And so I don't have the thing where I'm like, oh, get in my corner. Oh my God, I'm great at this. And sure, I've accomplished it and all of that. But as soon as it's in the past, I'm like, well, no one cares about that anymore. And so I genuinely don't think I'm capable of being so self-involved that's either removing empathy for other people's experience or how it affects other people, or needing the validation of maybe in the need of validation of others, but I don't look for the validation of others. I just assume I'm inconsequential.
That makes sense, actually.
I would have questions, but I think we're running a little long. That's a good one.
Well, we could, by all means, log them in the topics chat, and we can bring this up because I have no issue talking about.
Not to continue, not to make it more glib, but I just got.
Yeah, that's what no, that's what I'm saying. Like, this may sound glib because it makes it sound like, I hate myself and all that kind of stuff. I tell people, I was like, I don't have low self-esteem. I just don't have any. There's a difference.
Sorry.
But no, because I do love myself. I do care, and I know people care about me and all that. But I don't look at it that deeply, and I'm never like, excuse you, you're welcome. You get to be in my presence. Like I don't know what that is.
So you can't be Prince in another life.
Maybe this is this might be retribution for that. Well, yeah. So we're gonna wrap it up right there. And
everybody take a deep breath.
Everybody went, oh, shit. Okay, so but no. On this topic, I find people who can be in that space of narcissism fascinating and hilarious, because I don't know what that is. It's a very foreign concept to me, and people who produce whatever chemical that is for their logic to be influenced that way, I find just intriguing.
We gotta talk about how we respond to to these situations and people that we come into contact with one day?
Laugh.
How do we?
And we gotta give specific anecdotes so we can say like, yo, in this particular situation, this is how I responded. Yeah, to make it even.
I mean, yeah. If you can think of situations where you've dealt with a narcissist, or hey, audience, if you've dealt with a narcissist at some point, and you're like, this is the situation I went through. Shit was fucking wild. Tell us about the situation. Maybe we can also talk about how we would have reacted to the situation as you went through it. But we want to thank y'all for listening and supporting us. By all means, there's a couple ways that you can support us. Anchor. On Anchor, you can sponsor an episode for however much you want to. I believe the minimum is $5, and so that is a way that you can feed us as opposed to us making a Patreon. But if you're interested in the Patreon, because that's the way that you already subscribe to people, yeah, tell us that's your interest. We are happy to make perks, more episodes, what have you. You said what? Perks.
Perks.
Adam is not doing any of the perks because he already does enough work. And by all means, we always tell you all about rating and reviewing on Apple Podcasts, but now you can rate and review on Spotify too. Because I know ain't none of y'all niggas listening on Google Podcasts. And so those are only two places that y'all listening to. And you can rate and review us on both so more people can see us and be a part of the crew as well. We appreciate y'all. We love you, fellas. Last thoughts.
I got something, man. Somebody, Adam, go ahead.
You good.
That's right. All right. Well, my last thoughts are going to be something that Kanye said, but don't quote me. I'm paraphrasing. This is like back in the day. They asked him something about like, what's the thing you like least about performing or something? He said, the worst thing in the world about performing for me is that I'll never be able to see myself in real time. That's the worst thing in the world. I can't see it. That y'all can see it and I can't while I'm performing. That's the greatest, bro. As that shit. I just want to leave the audience with that.
Yeah, that's a good way to end it.
That's a good way to end it. Yo, if you care to follow us on any social medias, by all means, please, you can hit us up on InforMILLy Honest. InforMILLy Honest on IG, InforMILLy Honest Podcast on Facebook, and InforMILLy Honest Podcast at gmail.com. And the Twitter is InforMILLy_HP. We thank y'all. We appreciate you for every connection that you have and every love that you make and all of the things above and every kind of interaction that you could ever endure. We always encourage you. Huh?
Make some love tonight.
Make some love. I said it.
Not before you do a little dance.
Yeah. We encourage you and we empower you to always be forthright, vulnerable, and most of all, be motherfucking honest. Thanks, y'all. Peace.
I'm Disney. I'm Steve Jobs.
He's like, yo, I'm a god. He's like, yo, who do you think you are? I just told you I thought I was a god.
What do you want me to be?
Yeah. All right, thanks, world. Peace, y'all.
Without shedding a tear for my brother, I really wanna try for my brother, 'cause I truly do feel for my brother.